What's going on, Genius Nation? It's your man, Dr. Will. This is the Daily Genius, and I'm super excited that you are joining us on this magnificent Monday. This is a brand new day, a day you've never seen before. You won't see this day again, so maximize this day. Always excited that you're here with us. For those of you that are watching this outside of our private Facebook group, you're watching it on YouTube. When I refer to Genius Nation, I'm talking about our private Facebook group that has over 1,000 individuals that are committed to becoming the best versions of themselves and creating a life that they love. If that sounds like you, then we invite you to be a part of our community where we share tips and tools, and we want to motivate you and inspire you and help you become that better version of yourself. So once again, welcome to the daily Genius. Before I get into my thought for today, want to remind you inside the group, Monday is designated as Mastery Monday. And so you're going to see the graphic that just reminds you of that. But my question for you is, what skill do you need to add? What skill do you need to add this year to your repertoire that would make you better, that would make you more effective? I want you to think about that this week. Like, what do I need to get better at? Maybe it's at texting. Maybe it's at creating content. Maybe it's learning how to type. Whatever it may be, what's one skill that you can add to your repertoire that would make you better, make you more efficient, make you more dominant in your industry? So think about that. That's our focus for today on Mastery Monday. Then I want to remind you, tonight is Monday. Today is Monday, so we do question and answer. This is your opportunity where you can pop in and ask me any question. The link will be in the group later on today, so you can hop in and join in and ask me anything about business, anything about personal development, some thoughts that you may want to share. Just a cool way to connect to the community. This is one way, but when we come to question and answer, we can have a two-way conversation. So if I've said something on these lives that you have a question about, or you just need deeper understanding, then come on out. We do it every Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So come on out for a Q&A tonight. Look forward to meeting you. If I've never met you before, this is also a cool way for us to connect as well. So I want to talk to us today on this Monday here in the United States. It's a holiday. It is, I believe we call it President's Day here in the United States. So a lot of people are off today. So hopefully you're maybe laying in bed, get to catch me today live here on the Daily Genius. But I want to talk to you about showing up. I'm getting ready to start my podcast on February the 24th. So mark your calendar for that, 2/24/24. We're dropping the first episode of the Will to Win show with Dr. Will. So super excited about that. And I've been reading this book on podcasting. And in the book, it shared some amazing statistics about podcasting, right? And it got me to thinking about just showing up. And I want to read something to you. Let me find it real quick. I want to read something to you because this is going to show you the power of showing up and being consistent, and why I'm always talking about being consistent. So it says, there are between 3.2 and 4.1 million podcasts out there. And this is where a lot of us get hung up. So we'll see something like that. Oh man, a million podcasters out there, a million podcasters. Well, number one, your mindset always has to be, number one, that I have something to say, and what I have to say is going to be uniquely different than what anybody else is saying. Your point of reference, your philosophy, the way you see things is like your fingerprint, totally unique to you. So that's number one. So whenever you see high numbers, like it's 1,000 people doing something, it's 10,000, it's 1,000,000, it's 10 million people, you got to realize that those other 10 million people are nothing like you. You are unique. So that's a reason to show up all in and of itself. But 2 million, 3 million, 4 million people that do podcasts. There's 8 billion people. There's 8 billion people on the planet. There's 8 billion people on the planet. So that is a small percentage of people that are doing podcasts. But this is where the rubber meets the road. And this is why I'm never intimidated about doing something, starting something, because this is where I know I'm going to beat out 99% of the people right here. Listen to this. There are between 3.1 and 3.2 and 4.1 million podcasters. Beyond that, only 26% of podcasts have over 10 episodes. Think about that. Only 26% of podcasts have over 10 episodes. What does that mean? That means a lot of people start, but they don't finish. A lot of people start, but they don't stay committed. A lot of people start, but they don't have the endurance. So look, if you just created 11 episodes and your podcast will have more content available than 74% of the 3 million podcasts available. So when I talk about showing up and being consistent, you got to have a right frame of mind. So when I started thinking about doing a podcast, I already knew I was going to do a podcast. It's going to be once a week. I believe it'll be once a week. So it's going to take me 2 years to get to podcast episode number 100. I already have that frame of mind that if I do a podcast a week, it's 52 weeks in a year. So if I'm going to get to 100, then that's 100 weeks. It's going to take me 2 years. So that's already in my mind. So I already see myself past doing 10 episodes, and I don't start off worrying about who is watching, who's subscribing or anything like that. My mind is totally focused on reaching 100 episodes. That's what that's my goal. My goal is not to start a podcast, right? That's not the goal. Anybody can start. I just gave you the numbers. Anybody can start. So that's not my goal. My goal is to get to my first 100, but I already know that it's going to take me 2 years to do it. So I'm already into 2026. I'm already into the year 2026 because it's going to take me 2 years to just get to 100 if I do one a week, right? If I want to get to that 100 in 1 year, then I got to do 2 a week. And we'll see how it goes. But I already know I'm committed to one. I'm committed to 1 a week, getting to my first 100. And so this has to be your framework. And then as I was reading this book and just thinking, I want you to think about professional athletes. I want you to think about professional athletes. See, there's an old saying that you see the glory, but you don't know the story. And I want you to think about professional athletes. The average professional athlete starts playing their given sport at, let's say, 8 years old. Let's say they start playing their given sport at 8 years old. Think about this. They don't get to turn pro if it's basketball, at least until they're 18, 19. If they're football, not until they're about 22 or 23. If it's baseball, not until around, I think it's 18 when you graduate, 18, 19, you can go into the minors or something like that. So look at how much time. If it's soccer, look at how much time. I know over in Europe where I used to live for 15 years, they can join profession a little bit earlier, maybe 16, 17. But even at 8, they've already put in 8 years of doing their talent, doing their skill without getting paid. That's my point. If you start at 8 years old, you already have to give at least 10 years before you even get paid. Now, I was doing the numbers. So let's say in that time span, they would have to go to practice at least 2,500 times. If they practice just 250 days out the year, if you practice just 250 days out the year over 10 years, that would be 2,500 times you just practiced without getting paid. 2,500 times without getting paid. Now let's look at the games. Let's say they played 30 games a year, 30 games a year, that their talent, their skill would have to be on display over a 10-year period. That would be 300 games, 300 games without getting paid. This is all in preparation and putting them in position to get paid. So I want you to think about you and me, our skills, our gifts, our talent. We say we want to reach the world. We want to be the best of the best. Well, what are you willing to do? How much are you willing to show up? See, professional athletes, 2,500 times they had to go to practice. That's if they're doing it right 250 times a year. It's 365 days in a year. I know athletes, they go every single day when they're trying to reach their dream, when they're trying to get to the pro level. Think about how much work they had to put in. So how much work are you willing to put in? How much are you willing to show up? That's the difference. That's the difference. This is how I know. This is the confidence that I go in with. I go in with the confidence that I'm going to be consistent. Not even that I'm going to be good. Not even that I'm going to be great. I go in with I'm going to be consistent. You know, here in our group, I've committed 365 days to show up. I know that at 365, I'm going to be better than I was at video number 1. You know, every day, you know, I have my log here of the Daily Genius, right? All the episodes already. We're already up to 81 episodes. And I review this and I'm going over it. And I'm like, okay, I'm already now thinking, okay, at episode number 100, we've done 100 of these. I'm now getting my rhythm. Just this morning, I'm jotting down what framework I want to do, how I want to engage the next 100. So this is what we did the first 100, just getting your feet wet, showing up. It's a discipline for me. It's work for me to make sure that I show up every single day. But I'm betting on my consistency. I don't worry about if anybody shows up or not, whether you show up or not. I'm going to show up because that's who I'm in competition with. Not how many views or likes or whatever. I'm in competition with myself because I know there's a power in showing up. And so I just read to you, millions of people start. And if you got to 11 podcasts, you would have 74% more content than the other millions of people. You know, it reminds me when I was in high school and they called for football tryouts. And I'll never forget, it had to be something like 150 kids went out and the team could only, I think our football team could only have 50 people. So 150 went out. And when they said football tryouts, you see all these people. And I'm like, everybody I talked to, it seemed like they said they played my position. Like, what position you play? Wide receiver, cornerback. I'm like, man, how am I ever going to get on the field? And I'll never forget Coach Bone in the hot California sun. He said, all right, line up. We're going to run. And he made us run. That was the whole practice, run. Come back the next day. All right, line up. Let's run. About the third day, the murmuring started. Man, I ain't come out here to run. I came out here to play football, man. He making us run all day, man. Day number 4. All right, come on, let's run. Day number 5. Come on, let's run. Going into that second week. Hey, man, you going to practice today? No, man, all we do is run. So it went from like 150 to 125, right? Next week, all we doing is running. It goes from like 125 to like 75 people. And I'm looking around. I'm like, oh, okay. And I didn't realize it back then. What was he doing? He was getting rid of all the people that didn't want to be committed. He was getting rid of all the people who didn't want to be committed. And then finally, around week number 4, a month in, we down to like 60 people. Now the coaches have a good look. Who's still here? Now we can pick our team from those that remain. And that's what success is like. That's what all this is about. It's, the Bible says it like this: the race is not given to the swift nor to the strong. The race is given to the person that can endure. It's an endurance race. So you got to commit to showing up. You got to commit to being consistent. That's all you got to commit to. Don't commit to being the best. Don't commit to, being a superstar. Don't commit to being famous. Just commit to showing up. Just commit to showing up, and it will change your life. All right, guys. So remember, tonight we have question and answer at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's talk more about this. I would love to hear how you're showing up and what you're committed to. So join us. The link will be inside the private Facebook group, Inside Genius Nation. Remember, it's Mastery Monday. So what are you mastering? What skill do you need to add to make you better? All right, guys, go out there and have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you later.